I said, I no longer fit into the normal, mundane shit. There's a little drawing here, which is from Bob Proctor. It's almost like self-hypnosis, self-delusion. Every time you're doing work, I'm a hard worker. Every time you do something new, I'm a hard worker. Every time you wake up in the morning, I'm a hard worker. So a lot of times I don't want to post a certain video that I've made, or I don't want to do a certain sales call, or I don't want to do a certain exercise, all because I'm concerned about how it makes me feel. And the big problem there is that my feelings don't necessarily convey the reality of the situation. For instance, in a gym, let's say you're going to do an exercise and you're sat there thinking, this exercise looks really embarrassing. Maybe it's a certain ab workout, maybe it's a tricep workout, whatever it may be. You might sit there and think to yourself, you know what, this makes me feel a little bit embarrassed, a little bit like everyone's going to be looking at me for doing this. But that may not convey the reality of the situation. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean that everybody's actually looking at you or that anybody even cares about what you're doing. Most people are actually too concerned inside of their own heads about what they're doing to really care about what anybody else is doing. So a lot of the time, these anxieties that we feel for embarrassment don't actually exist in the real world. Take, for instance, me uploading a video as a prime example. Is I look back at some of my videos and I think, damn, I should take these videos down. But reality is, nobody really cares. Nobody cares about the videos enough, and I shouldn't really care about the videos enough because nobody else does anyway. And so I stopped caring about them. I was just like, look, it's me back then, and I am who I am now. It shows change. It shows progression. I think that most people just need to stop being little bitches and take control of their life and understand that everybody's world is just as fucked up as yours. The difference is that some people get on with it and others don't. In fact, majority of people don't get on with it. That's why the majority of people are stuck in these loops of social media and trying to present a certain image or trying to look a certain way, trying to impress certain people that just don't care. Meanwhile, the 1% of people, the entrepreneurs, the rich people, the people that are doing really well in their lives, those are the people who moved past it, who said, screw it, my world is just as fucked up as everybody else's, let me get on with it rather than worry about it. And they ended up in a position where now they're super wealthy and they're doing really well for themselves. And now they really don't have a reason to care. So it kind of just reinforces the idea. When you come across a point in your life where you're looking and you're saying, oh man, like I don't want to do this thing because I don't know, like I feel this way. Recognize that your feelings are scamming you. Just because you feel that way about it does not mean that is the reality of the situation. Now, are feelings completely obsolete? Of course not. Feelings are important. For instance, if you're stood in front of a poisonous snake and the feeling is, I need to run away, that's probably a good feeling to have. You know, I don't think you want to sit there and go, oh, well, I feel like I want to run away, but I'm not going to run away from the poisonous snake. Oh, it's bit me. Oh, I'm dead. Right? Like in that instance, that feeling of wanting to run away is really important because it makes you faster. It makes you run away quicker because you're like, shit, and you run. Whereas sometimes feelings in like the gym scenario I gave, or uploading a video, or jumping on a certain sales call, or speaking to a certain person, having a certain hard conversation, those feelings more often than not are invalid. Those feelings aren't right. They don't convey the reality of the situation. If you're going to have a hard conversation with somebody and you're like, I don't know how to approach this because I'm scared what they're going to react like. I think they're going to react. They're going to shout. They're going to scream. They're going to hate me. But the reality is, when you actually come and have the conversation, it goes really well. And the reason being is because how you feel does not convey the reality of the situation. So again, you have to sometimes look and say, hey, actually, is the way I'm feeling based in reality? Or is it based in an imaginary scenario that I've made up in my head? Is it based upon something that I am just making up as I go? Which the likelihood is it is, yes. I'll tell you what, a great solution to this is to actually journal. I've said it many times on this channel about journaling, to do it, not to do it, when to do it, how to do it, all that stuff. And I journal less these days, and I honestly wish I kept up the habit and journaled more, which is something that I'm working on. But journaling is especially important in the early days because it makes you realize a lot of the scenarios that you make up in your head, and it makes you take accountability for them. It makes you realize when the feelings that you're experiencing aren't based in reality. For instance, I'll open up my journal right now to a page and prove the point to you. Here we go. So I wrote this down. I said, I no longer fit into the normal, mundane shit. I never felt like I belonged around it anyway, but after seeing all these amazing people in Miami, it has just solidified it. So I went to Miami for a networking event, met some amazing people. And what's interesting about that thought to me was that I used to feel as though maybe what I'm doing is wrong. Maybe what I'm doing isn't the right path. Maybe I am the one who needs to change my attitude. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong, basically. That's just it. I thought I was the wrong one who was wrong for thinking this way. But when I went to Miami and I met these other guys who didn't fit into the normal mundane life, I was like, oh my God, I'm not wrong for feeling this way. But secondly, that feeling was never based in reality. Because at the end of the day, everyone's world's fucked up. Nobody has time to care about me and my life and what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it didn't even matter for me feeling that way. And I'm glad that I met these people in Miami because that made me realize that that feeling was not based in reality. So there's a little drawing here that I'd like to show you, which is from Bob Proctor. And it was part of Earl Nightingale's setup as well. Thoughts are your conscious mind. So thoughts are things that you experience consciously. They're things that come into your head, like the thought of, oh, I feel like having a cookie, right? That's the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is where the feelings come. And the feelings are, your subconscious mind is like the emotional mind, okay? The thing about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is the subconscious mind has no choice but to accept what is repeatedly told to it. So if you said in your conscious mind, your thoughts, if you think repeatedly, I want a cookie, I want a cookie, I want a cookie, I want a cookie, that's going to go into your subconscious mind as a feeling, as an emotion, right? That's why you feel as though you have a craving for something, because it's in your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind cannot change that thought because it is now part of your feelings. And obviously your subconscious mind, those feelings turn into your actions. And so when you feel the craving for a cookie, what do you go and do? You go and get a cookie. Now, I'm giving this example to generalize, but this applies to everything. If you want to work and you want to work really hard, continually tell yourself in your conscious mind, I'm a hard worker, I'm a hard worker, I'm a hard worker, over and over again throughout the day. Just every time you're doing work, I'm a hard worker. Every time you do something new, I'm a hard worker. Every time you wake up in the morning, I'm a hard worker. Every time you get ready, I'm a hard worker. Every time you go to bed, I'm a hard worker. The whole time, repeat it to yourself all the time. And what will it turn into? It will turn into a feeling. You will not only be telling yourself you're a hard worker, but you will now believe it. You will feel that you are a hard worker, and those feelings turn into your actions. Your actions being that you now work extremely hard because you continually told yourself that you're a hard worker. So it's almost like self-hypnosis, self-delusion. You can convince yourself that you are a hard worker, and then you can become a hard worker because of it. And the opposite is true. You can convince yourself that you are lazy, depressed, anxious all the time. Those turn into your feelings. Those feelings turn into your actions. So like I say, feelings are never based in reality. They are simply a thought that we've repeated to ourselves all the time, and that has become part of our subconscious mind, which becomes part of our actions. That is why it is innate in us when danger happens. For instance, the snake scenario. If a poisonous snake is in front of you about to bite you, your immediate reaction and feeling is to run away, okay, or fight it. Maybe you're one of the fighters, but stomp on it, whatever. The point is, whether fight or flee, that feeling comes from the repeated conscious thought of when danger happens, run away kind of thing. And that is ingrained into us when we're children, which is why it lives with us for the rest of our lives and becomes an instinctual thing. Anyway, I hope this helped make a bit of sense of feelings and understand that you don't need to just stop being a bitch, stop being embarrassed about things, like get on with it, right? Your feelings most likely aren't based in reality. In fact, 90% of our feelings today are not based in reality because the world is just crazy. It's like the shit happening all the time. So